Creating scrapbooks using the company Mixbooks to capture and preserve your memories from the distant past and the recent past is a fun and easy activity. But let's dive in to give you step-by-step instructions on how to get started. Howdy, I'm Devin Noel Lee with Family History Fanatics, where we help you understand your DNA, climb your family tree, and write your ancestor stories along the way. And one of the easiest ways to write and preserve your family's histories is through scrapbooks, because scrapbooks give you scraps of stories, making it fantastic to help share your stories. And if you're participating in the 52 Ancestors in 52 Weeks projects, then you can convert a lot of those stories into a scrapbook with ease. So let's hop over to Mixbooks and show you how to do it. And if you haven't heard of the 52 Ancestors in 52 Weeks challenge from my friend Amy Johnson Crow, then go to the description section for this video to find a link for more details. So here we are on the Mixbook website, and we're gonna go start creating Photobooks. So you can come over to Photobooks, and I like the topic of family for many of my family memories. There are a lot of fresh styles for your more recent photos, and then you have kids. If you happen to be doing kids, you've got a lot of bright colors and many of the topics that they would be interested in. I'm going to go back to family, and I'm going to create a scrapbook using some historic graduation photos, and so you can get an idea of how you can do memories over time. So we're going to come down to this Making Memories one. Here I am on Mixbook, and I need to select my shape. I like to have portrait vertical scrapbook pages, so I'm going to go ahead and choose that and click Start. Now I need to add pictures. I can add them from any of my social media accounts, or if I have already uploaded them to Mixbook, I can add them from my phone or my desktop. I'm going to go ahead and grab them from my desktop. While it's loading, I'll give you a quick overview of what Mixbook has done for us. They've gone ahead and helped organize your layouts. You have multiple arrangements, places for text, places for titles. Now, you do not have to stick with any of these layouts. You can customize it to meet your needs, but it's really nice that the theme is carried, this like rustic woods theme is carried throughout the whole book. So now that a number of the pages are already, the photos are already loaded up, we're going to start customizing our book. So I want to start with this image as soon as it loads. I'm going to click on it, hold my left mouse button, and drag it into the spot that I want it to go into. Now, if I don't like that, I can always click undo and move it to another location. Maybe I want it to be full screen. That looks lovely. Now, I want to go and find the document. This is a certificate, but this is really arranged in the goofiest of orders. There's two things I want you to start doing when you're using Mixbook. I want you to click on Hide Photos after you use them. So I'm not going to keep seeing this picture of Jesse Tame because I've already used him. So you're going to scroll down and he has disappeared from the queue. Now what I want to do is sort not by the date they were taken, which was really the date the photos were scanned, but I'm going to do by file name. And I'm going to do this from A to Z because I already organized them in that fashion. So now I have the diplomas for Jesse that I need to bring over. So I'm going to try to bring it over, and notice it is zoomed in such a way that doesn't look very attractive. I can't read the whole thing. Well, that's when you need to get very familiar with this layout option. So the first thing you can do is see the thematic layouts. You can see how you can change them up. We can close this up and we can see some standard themes. It will keep the background that you already have on screen, but we're looking for a horizontal arranged photo. So that looks nice, but let's say I want to have text. So I can find one. There's a little bit of text below this. It's hard to see. I think Mixbook should make this darker so we can tell that's text. But if we click on that, now we have a text box that we can utilize here. There's another layout with text where the text is above. If you ever want to rearrange things yourself, just click, don't click here. Well, yeah, don't click there. Click anywhere holding down your left mouse button, and you can move the image around, and you can move the text around. So I can go ahead and start typing in the text. This is Jessie Tame. And then I can say graduation and give all the details, which I'm not going to do for you now. But let's say I want to change the size of the text. Well, Mixbook makes it really easy. I can change the size of the text over here, maybe 42. That's going to be quite large. That's quite nice. If we wanted to change the font color, we can do that over here, make it gold maybe. Remember to have a lot of contrast in order for this to be read. So the light colors look good on dark backgrounds and black looks good on light backgrounds. But you do not want to have anything so close that it becomes very hard to read. That would be impossible to read, and you don't want to torture yourself or your readers later. There we go. And we can always move it around. We can do left justification, center justification. You can change it out. You can italicize it. You can really make it as custom as you want to. You can also change the font. Now, the fonts are fairly limited, but you might find one that you enjoy. Now, you can keep adding images to your layouts. I wanted to show you a few different ones that you might be interested in trying out. So you can add JPEG images to your screen, but there's a couple of things I want you to see. So one is a JPEG and one is a PNG. Sometimes you're going to have images that have oval shapes and you really want to get rid of the white background. Well, Mixbook doesn't take out the white background. You can't edit this image to take it out. But if you used a Photoshop Elements tool or some type of photo editing program, you can take out the background, save it as a PNG, and now you have this little oval space. But what is the problem that you see on the screen right now? Mixbook does not want you to print poor quality images that have a very, very low resolution. So what it will do, we're going to take this one out and move this title out of the way. Just left mouse click, drag and drop. What you do when you see that little red arrow, exclamation point, that means that it doesn't have a high enough resolution for this size to be printed. So you can drag in, I'm holding my left mouse button down, I'm dragging in until that exclamation point goes away. So now you have a decision to make. Is this image large enough for what you had in mind on the page? If it's not, then you need to go try to get a larger copy of it. There's nothing Mixbook can do to ensure that that's going to turn out well. So just because it looks good on screen doesn't mean it will come out well when it's printed. So if you see a red exclamation point, do not print it at that size. You need to make sure it goes away or rescan it and upload it to Mixbook. Now, let's say you have this layout right here and you're just a two scrapbook page layout. Again, you can come up to this theme and change it. But what if you want to change the background? Well, to get to the background changed, you can click on this background option. Now, you have your themed backgrounds. So I like this one because it's still that rustic woods, but it's more monochromatic, more unitoned, if you will. And I can use that one, go back to my pictures, add her layout. And notice I'm just repeating the steps that I showed you before. I need one image. Click there, come down. So why did her page change? Well, that's because I had her page clicked. I need to click on her page in order to see the changes implement. Now let's say you want to start decorating the pages because some of you are pretty crafty and creative and this would be a little too boring even if you have the story there. I've already shown you how to change the title and the text, so I'm going to show you how to add some embellishments. Now, every theme that you choose is going to have some recommended stickers. Martha Stewart, I don't think that would fit right here because her name wasn't Martha. If you don't like any of these options over here, the next thing you can do is start typing in this box. So I'm going to say graduation and see what happens. So these aren't part of the theme that I chose, but I can use them in my layout. So I can, let's say I wanted to choose this graduation world. I just left mouse click, drag it over, and drop it onto the page. I'm going to have to manipulate the backgrounds to make sure that it is a useful graphic. Let me show you one that's kind of fun to play with. I'm going to type graduation cap. There we go. So let me choose this graduation cap seal right here. Now, that's obviously too big. So we're going to make it smaller, and I'm going to move it up, and all I do is I just keep my left mouse button. It's the ticket to everything. Bring it down, and then if I want to rotate it a little bit, I just hold my left mouse button on this little rotating icon. So I can put it right there. So now let's make it a little more interesting. The first thing we can do is click edit, and we can explore shadows. So play around with the different shadow options that you have here until you find one that you like. You can also change the color of the shadow. Maybe you wanted a lighter gray. That looks quite nice. We can edit by hitting effects. Maybe we want it to be black and white, or variations of the themed colors, kind of like the black and white. We can adjust things. Now let's go back and choose an actual color. Let's try this yellow just for the fun of it. If we click on adjust, we can change how bright or dark that one is. We can change the saturation of the color, just how intense that yellow may be, and then we can change the contrast. We can't exactly change the color all that much from, say, pink to green. But there are different things you can go ahead and try. So I like this one. I'm going to go back to it. And then one final thing you might want to do, or two actually. One is the opacity. Maybe you want to make it just have the background come through. And finally, you can change the order. You can actually send it behind so that the image is on top. So any element you can move forward and back to the place that you would like it to be. Once you're done, press save, and I'm going to show you a couple more things that you're going to want to pay attention to. Now, when you want to access your project again, you need to click on projects, and now you have your project that you are working on. It's hard to remember what Simple Wood was. That doesn't make any sense until you start changing the cover. So one thing you can do is click on settings and then click up here, and you can change the title. So we're just going to say Graduates Through Time. So that's done. I can go in and edit, order, or copy the book. Maybe I really like the layout I did and I want to modify it for a different set of graduates, or maybe I want to modify it for another project. I can copy it and then utilize the same techniques again. But here's something that's pretty important to me, especially if you're using your own personal living people content. I typically set my projects to viewable by invite only. The only people I invite can see this project. You can make it so that anybody you share a link with can see it, or you can make it public. So I typically update permissions right there and make it so it's just for. So what further questions do you have about creating a scrapbook using Mixbook? Let me know in the comments below. And we would love it if you would join the FHF Extra community, which has more content and more training for you throughout the month. Hit the join button below and check out these videos on how to create scrapbooks.